So today we'll start the separation technique from the chapter number 2. So let's give the heading. So we are dealing with the chapter number 2. Okay, now separation of mixture of two components. Suppose you have a mixture containing two components, right? Now you have to separate those two components from the mixture that you have. So what are the techniques that we can use, right? First of all, we will decide the techniques which are needed to separate the mixture of two solids, right? The mixture of two solids. So the process of separation of mixture of two solids so this can be done by few ways, right? First of all, by using a suitable solvent, right? By using a suitable solvent. Secondly, by the process of sublimation. By the process of sublimation. Third, by using a magnet. So these are the three processes by which we can separate a mixture which has got two solids in it. Okay, for example, the first process, okay, that is process number 1. By using a suitable solvent, how can we do that? For example, we have a mixture of sugar and sand, right? We have a mixture of sugar and sand. Now what we have to do? We have to separate these two, okay, from the mixture. These two means the sugar and the sand. So what should we do? Obviously we can do it by using a suitable solvent. So here in this case, the solvent is nothing but water, right? Solvent is nothing but water. So what we will do? We will take the mixture in a beaker or in a glass, whatever you like. So what should we do? We will add some water in it. Right? And we'll try to stir it out. So what will happen? So if we stir it, then the sugar will be dissolved in the water. Now what will remain? Obviously the sand will remain at the bottom, right? Now what can we do? We can filter this, right? So what will happen while filtering this particular thing? Obviously the sand, okay, which is insoluble in water, will be removed as the residue, right? And the water will come out as the filtrate, okay, right? A residue is a particular thing which stuck to the filter paper, okay. Something which stuck to the filter paper is known as the residue, and something which can cross the filter paper, or something which can pass pass the filter paper quite easily is called as the filtrate, which can pass through filter paper, right? Which can pass through the filter paper will be called as the filtrate, right? So by this way we can separate the mixture of sugar as well as the sand, right? Now question might arise that the sugar is now in the water. That means the sugar is not separated. Okay, it is there, but it is mixed with the water. So what should we do to separate the sugar from the water? Obviously we will see that in the next segment. Okay, that is separation of two components in which the components are one solid and one liquid, right? Here both the components are solid. By this way we can separate both the components from their mixture, right? Now the second process, by the process of sublimation. Let's go to that part. First of all, what is sublimation? We have discussed in the last chapter, right? Sublimation. What is sublimation? We have just discussed in the last chapter. That is, sublimation means if something converts directly from solid to gas, okay, without being converted into liquid, that particular matter will be, the particular process will be called as sublimation, okay, and which shows the property of sublimation will be called as sublimate, right? Now there are so many examples of compounds, of materials which show the property of sublimation. Now some examples are ammonium chloride. Okay, it's a white solid. It gets converted into gas directly without being converted into liquid. Okay, iodine, similarly, it's a solid. It can be converted into gas directly. Camphor, same thing. Naphthalene and anthracene, they all are solid, okay, except this iodine. Everyone is white solid, right? What they do, they get converted into the gas directly. Now suppose you have a mixture of sand and ammonium chloride. Okay, suppose you have a mixture of sand and ammonium chloride. So what should we do? We should apply this process by which we can separate these two, right? Now if you see this setup, what do we have? We have a china dish. Okay, we have a china dish. China dish looks like this, a white bowl, right? So what happens? We just take the mixture of sand and ammonium chloride. See, here it is written as common salt, that is sodium chloride and ammonium chloride, same thing. Okay, same process. You can also take sand and ammonium chloride, you can separate the mixture by the similar way. So here's a mixture of common salt, that is sodium chloride and ammonium chloride, and you have taken an inverted funnel exactly like this. See, it's an inverted funnel, right? And what we have done, we have kept a cotton plug over it, right? Why the cotton plug is kept over here? To stop the process of removing of that ammonium chloride. Okay, to stop the removal of ammonium chloride, right? So what happens? We have got a burner by which we heat the mixture. Now if you observe closely what is happening, see, here there is a mixture of ammonium chloride and sand, right? Ammonium chloride can undergo sublimation. So what will happen eventually? Ammonium chloride will become gas. Okay, ammonium chloride will become gas. So that means if ammonium chloride becomes gas, what will be left? Obviously the sodium chloride will left here only. And by the same process, what happens? This ammonium chloride, suppose, comes to this part. Okay, now what is happening? Here the temperature is quite low. Here also, okay, the temperature is quite low. So what happens? The ammonium chloride solidifies once again. Okay, so that means the ammonium chloride becomes solid, which we can find at the upper portion, which is a little bit colder compared to the lower portion of this particular setup. So by this way we can separate a mixture of ammonium chloride and common salt, that is sodium chloride, by applying the process of sublimation. Okay, similar type of things can be done. Similar type of by similar type of ways we can also separate the mixture of some separate agents, right, which undergo sublimation. Now let's come to the point number 3, by using a magnet. How can we do this? By using a magnet. Very easy, very simple. We all know that. Suppose we have got a mixture of iron filling and sulfur powder, right? Sulfur powder and iron filling, and we have mixed it up, right? So obviously if you take a magnet and if you keep the magnet there, what will happen? The iron fillings will be attracted by the magnet and the sulfur powder will left over, right? So by this way, by using a magnet, we can separate the mixture of iron filling and sulfur powder. We can separate the components from the mixture of iron filling and sulfur powder, right? So now we will have to learn how we can separate a mixture of a solid and the liquid, right? Mixture of a separation of mixture of solid and liquid, right? Separation of mixture of solid and liquid. So there are so many types of mixture of solid and liquid. For example, we will get a type of mixture where the solid is soluble in the liquid, right? You can get a different kind of mixture where the solid is insoluble in the liquid, right? Example of the first category, that sugar in water, okay, salt in water, etc. Example of the second category, sand in water, right? So now what we have to do, we have to understand that how can we separate the mixture of the both the mixture of both the categories, right? So there are some methods by which we can do it. The methods are like, number one, filtration. Okay. Number two, centrifugation. Number three, evaporation. Number four, crystallization. Number five, chromatography. Number six, distillation. Okay. So by using, let's remove the word distillation from this list. Okay. So there are 5 categories by which we can separate the mixture of a solid and a liquid. Okay, we can separate the components of the mixture. First of all, we have to learn all these processes, along with some more processes are there. First of all, we have to learn about filtration. Okay, the name suggests itself, filtration, right? That means there will be a membrane by which a particular component can pass and another component will not be able to pass. Very easily we can understand this. Now, first of all, you need a filter paper for the technique called filtration. Okay, so we are studying about filtration, right? So for this filtration you need a filter paper. Okay, so filter paper is like this. Okay, when the school will reopen, I will show you the filter paper. It is the filter paper. It's a simple paper. Okay, now what we can do, it's a special type of paper. Okay, that means the diameter of the membrane of this filter paper is somehow very special. Okay, the reason is it allows some particular components to pass through it. Okay, but some components are there which cannot pass through this filter paper, and we use this particular property of filter paper to separate the mixture. So what we have to do, we have to make a filter paper cone, right? So this is how the first fold, a simple first fold. Okay, after that we'll give a second fold. Okay, now we'll stretch it out to make a filter paper cone, and that filter paper cone will be there inside the funnel. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to keep it like this. Okay, or like this. Okay, you can see what we do, we just take the mixture. Okay, we just take the mixture, we just keep it inside the filter paper, and what happens, obviously the mixture gets separated. Okay, something gets stuck as a residue and something goes into the, or something passed through the filter paper, which we call filtrate. Okay, the exact same thing we saw during the separation of sand and water sugar mixture, right? This is the way the filter paper works. Okay, very simple technique. Okay, a very basic technique. The second process by which we can separate the mixture of components, like one is solid, another one is liquid, solid dissolved in a liquid, that is centrifugation. The process of centrifugation, the process of centrifugation. So we can use this particular technique. So what we do, suppose there is a apparatus. Okay, this apparatus helps us to do the centrifugation. So what basically it does, if you see, there are 4 places to keep your test tube, right? So what it does, it generally, or it spins, like, okay, it spins. So here is the picture. This is how you keep your test tube. Okay, and actually 2 test tubes are here. Okay, 2 test tubes are here. One is here, another one is here. Okay, so it spins like this. So what happens? Due to this centrifugal force, the solid, okay, which is dissolved in your liquid, gets separated, okay, and the solid comes to the bottom side of your test tube, where the liquid stays above the test tube, or the upper part of the test tube, I would say. Like, so this is how we use the process of centrifugation. Now when we use this process of centrifugation, generally for colloids, okay, generally for colloids like blood, okay, if you have to separate the components of blood, you have to apply this method of centrifugation. This is done in the laboratory where the tests are being done. Okay, now So now where do we apply this method of centrifugation? We have to understand some examples, right? See, blood, okay, it is a mixture of blood cell and plasma. All right, blood cell and plasma. So we can separate the mixture of blood cell and plasma by applying this method of centrifugation, right? Exactly. If you see what has been done over here is called the centrifugation, right? One more interesting thing is there, one more interesting example is there, separation of cream from milk. It is also done by the process of centrifugation, right? It is also done by the process of centrifugation. You have to keep that in mind. So the milk is taken and the centrifugation is applied, by which it gets converted into the cream or butter, I would say. Now one more technique is there, the third technique, which was nothing but the process of evaporation. We have done filtration, we have done centrifugation. Now the third process, we call it evaporation. So we all know that what is evaporation, right? So we have to understand how can we apply the technique of evaporation to separate the components from the mixture. So now let's give an example. For example, we have a mixture of water and salt, right? Now if you see, the salt is soluble in water. As the salt is soluble in water, that means we cannot apply the process of filtration, right? So nothing will happen. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to apply the technique called evaporation. Suppose you have got a china dish in which you have a mixture of water and salt. Okay, so what we will do? We will heat this particular mixture. By applying some burner. So what will happen eventually? The liquid part of the mixture will be evaporated, right? And what will left? Obviously the solid part will be left. The salt will remain there. Okay, so this is how we can separate by using the technique that is called as evaporation. All right. So we have seen so many techniques of separation in this class. In the next class we will see some more techniques. After that we will have a discussion about the colloid. Okay, we'll have a discussion about the colloid, and after that this chapter will be finished. We will move on to the third chapter. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you so much.